Impact Wrestling, Global Force Wrestling here at Universal Studios, Florida. I have the talented and bizarre, maybe not so bizarre right now, but she can be, Laurel Van Ness from Victoria, British
yes.
Columbia.
Yes.
Laurel, what was it like growing up in Victoria?
You know what? It's such a small town feel. I love it there. I live on an island. There's really nowhere to go. So everyone knows each other. It's a big community, big family. I love it.
Were you athletic growing up?
Yeah, I was. I played just about every sport. I danced for 14 years. I played soccer my whole life, a little bit of baseball, a little bit of basketball, a little bit of volleyball. And I ran track and field up until high school as well. So I was fairly active. I didn't do gymnastics or wrestling or anything that really pertained to what I am doing now.
When you were growing up, were you a wrestling fan?
My parents actually didn't let me watch wrestling. My sister and I would watch Monday Night Raw while my parents were cooking dinner, and if they ever caught us, it was like we turned the TV off and we ran. We were not allowed, but growing up, kind of turning on the TV and watching it a little bit here and there, that led to my sister and I watching a little bit more as we, when we lived together when we were in our 20s. So I was never a die-hard fan, but I knew what was going on,
What attracted to you that made you want to become a professional wrestler?
I was actually sitting in Calgary, Alberta, on my computer one night doing a little bit of homework for school and
college,
yeah. And I guess Monday Night Raw was on in the background, which is kind of funny. I'm not sure how that came about, but it was on in the background, and I started watching it, and I remember at the time they were called Divas. The Divas came on, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's so cool. I hadn't watched it in so long, but that is so cool. And then as I watched it, I'm like, I think I could do that, I think that's like, aside from the flipping and the things like that, I could do that. I'm aggressive enough, and so I put off my homework and I started Googling and researching where the divas and the superstars came from. Where did they train? What are the schools available now in 2014 or 13 that are available to us? And the first thing that came up, and I think the most well-known school in the world really, was Lance Storm Wrestling Academy. And
a great school.
It's amazing, and Lance is he's like the best. I can't even describe to you. His training style is so amazing. So I kind of went on Googling, and I remember spending the rest of that night thinking like, oh my God, this school is 10 minutes away from where I live in Calgary, Alberta. How could I not contact him and try to go there and see what this was all about? And that's what I did. I think the next day I contacted him, and I went to the school to go visit and just kind of pick his brain about what does it really take, what do I need to do, and do I even know what I'm getting into? And that's how it all began.
Did you finish college?
No, I'm a college dropout. I did 2 years, and then I left and I started wrestling, and I have not gone back, but that is a goal of mine, to go back.
What did your family think then when you decide, okay, this is what I want to try to do?
Well, when I spoke with Lance, it was about a week before Christmas, and he said to me, I was going back to Victoria for Christmas, he said to me, I do have a class starting in January, but I don't have any open spots, so you're not going to be able to do this one. Hopefully we can get you in May. And I thought, oh, that sucks. I'm one of those people, like, I want to do something now. If I want to do it, I want to do it now. I don't want to think about it for another 4 or 5 months. So I was a little bummed, but I went home. I said to my parents and my grandma, my sister, I'm going to learn to wrestle. And they're like, okay. Sure, okay. Because I had never expressed that I wanted to be a wrestler before. I didn't know I wanted to be a wrestler before. So I understood, and I just thought, whatever, they'll find out. And I remember it was probably maybe the 28th, and class started January 1st or 2nd, and the 28th of December, and Lance called me and said, just so you know, I can squeeze you into the class, but you have to be back in a couple days, and we're getting started, this is it. And I'm like, okay. I hopped on the first flight. I got back to Calgary. I wasn't supposed to come back to Calgary for a couple weeks. I went back to Calgary and straight to Storm Wrestling Academy, and I fell in love with it from that day on.
Now that you're here, what does your family think now and what you've been able to do?
Well, my mom, once I finished training, she really got into it. She came to my first indie show, and when she saw that indie show, she realized, oh my gosh, she could do this. This might be something. And my sister as well. My sister came to my first indie show. They both kind of thought the same thing. And then a couple months later, down the road, I had a show in my hometown. My grandma came, and she thought, okay, she's pretty good. She can maybe do this. My dad has always been the type of person, he doesn't want to watch me get hurt. I understand that. I'm his little girl. He doesn't want to watch me break my neck. But 6 months down the road, I ended up being on TV for wrestling, and I think that's when it kind of hit everyone, like, wow, this isn't something she's just talking about. This is something that, really, really is happening. It's not gonna happen, it is happening. And my dad came to the very first wrestling show of mine at Impact this week for Slammiversary. First time he ever has seen me wrestle in person.
What was that like for you and for him?
Oh my gosh, I was so nervous. I didn't think I'd be so nervous. This is what I do for a living, but having someone, I really wanted to impress him. I really wanted to make him proud, and he loved it. I watched his face the whole time. While I was literally slamming someone down, I looked at him and I saw him reacting, and it was the best thing ever.
How do they like the crazy character that you portray?
My mom is like, what? Just doesn't understand, and is like, but you have so many cute outfits. You know what I mean? My mom does not get it. My dad thinks it's hilarious. My dad says that this is who I always have been, this crazy, crazy chick. So they enjoy watching it. I think my whole family thinks it's ridiculous, but they love it.